Blessings crew, and welcome to part 2 of this week's offering. And part 2 is slightly restorative this week, and for that reason I've got a help. So I've got a bolster, $20, so cheap as chips if you can get one, or we're going to use the equivalent of a couch cushion, okay, so that we can just grab whatever we've got around. So grab that, kind of get yourself somewhere comfortable, and what we're going to do with them is look at how to use them as props when we're doing restorative, depending on what our body kind of needs or wants. Now, if you're lucky enough to have a bolster, this first one that we're going to do, we're going to pop the bolster into our lower back and lie down along it, okay, and bring your feet into Baddha Konasana. If you haven't got a bolster, we're just going to lie down into Baddha Konasana anyway, okay, so just flat. But if you've got a bolster, pull it into your lower back, lie down along it, find comfortable enough, bring your hands onto your puku, onto your belly, just stop for a moment, or arms alongside if you're on the bolster, because it can be a bit hard to get them on the tummy. And stop and just find your breath. If this is the first part of your practice, then think about what you've done today. It'll impact how your body experiences this. If you've just done part 1, you'll be nice and warm for this, so again it's going to be different. Just sink into the breath for a moment. And so much of our restorative process comes from the idea of restoring and rest. So stopping, settling into, being present to what's going on in our body. And if there's a whole lot of trains coming in at the station in your mind, just kind of noticing them and going, oh hey, check my mind out. Rather than trying to board all the trains or conduct them all in a particular direction, just breathe, let them go. Lots and lots of just breathing. And then as we do that, we're then going to take our arms up towards the roof. Now, if you're on the bolster and you take your arms over your head, it's quite different to being on the floor in that they might float around in space, or it might just be the back of your fingers that touch the floor. So just kind of play with that movement. Those of you that are quite tight in your shoulders, look after those. Long, slow, deep breath. Then we're going to bring our arms back over. Stretch up towards the roof, open up the space in your fingers. And then hands come down slowly alongside the body. Bring the knees together. And just kind of notice how you're feeling. If you've got a bolster underneath you, I'm going to take it out of the way. We're going to put our couch cushion towards our right side, so that if we were going into a twist, we were not quite touching the cushion, okay? So we're going to lift our hips up and over to the left, and then take those knees right into the twist. Roll the head to the left, looking along that arm, nice deep breath. Then that top leg, that right leg, left leg, top leg is going to slide over and land on the cushion. Okay, so it's supported by the cushion. If that feels like it's too much for your back, bring it back to that first shape. Then slide the knees back together, bring them back to center, bring the hips back to center. Pause there and check the two sides of your body, how they're feeling. You're going to shift that cushion over, shift the hips over to the right, take the knees left beside the cushion, so not on top of it. Roll your head to the right, sink into the breath. Notice your breathing, it's like your massage tool on the inside in our twists. I'm going to take that right knee over onto that cushion. Again, check in, make sure it doesn't feel like it's too far or too much. Breathe. And then slide those knees back on top of each other. Bring it back to center. I'm going to take our couch cushion. We're going to lift our hips up and put it underneath our bum. Okay, so snuggle into it and then take your feet up towards the roof. So it's giving you that little bit more lift and support. Arms alongside the body, palm facing down, just push those feet up towards the roof. Chin tucked in, so nice long neck. Breathe. Lots of breathing, lots of just soaking and sinking into it. And then soles of the feet together as we come down. You're going to notice a slightly different shape with that cushion there. So just bring the hands onto the belly or alongside the body. Breathe there for a moment. And then we're going to bring our knees back together. I'm going to turn onto our right side. Come slowly up to seated and pushing yourself up and off the cushion as you go. Okay, so cushion work gives us a little bit of support in ways that perhaps help us go deeper or sink into things. And one of my favourites, even if you know you can get your head on the floor in something like diamond pose, is to use it like this. So And we can use a bolster if we've got one. We're going to pull the cushion into our tummy, okay? So we've really got the sense that it's actually in the way of moving forward, okay? And that's because we want to keep our back nice and straight. Now, those of you that really struggle with this one, what's nice with this is that you're not trying too hard to come forward. In fact, even if you can only go a little way, that supported feeling can help you feel like, oh, it's actually okay, I'm actually okay in these poses. And then what we do is we keep that pressure on for those that could come further forward. So what it's encouraging you to do is keep that back really straight, because otherwise what we tend to do is go and C-shape our spine. And so the cushion acts as support. It also stops us. And so in restorative, we like to think of restoring by not going to 100%. You know, it's also known as yin. It's the more yin to a very yang yoga that we find in our modern space. So gently hold the feet, find your enough point, try and keep that back nice and lovely and straight, and then just tuck the chin down towards the base of the throat. So we're not curling over, it's quite an active tuck, and breathe. Now notice your breath at about this point, and notice that you might naturally be in a moving millimetre by millimetre deeper. If that starts to feel like that intensity's just gone up too much, come back up, consciously bring yourself back up. Use that cushion for support, so if we need to tuck it in more, do. Come up slowly, so we want to kind of ease our body out of that. Take the legs out in front, again still with our cushion, and just kind of sit. You know, sometimes we underestimate the power of buttock. Oh dear. Of staff pose, which is this one. I'm going to get, my words have just been like this all day. So with this, we want to sit nice and straight, and we want to roll the shoulders down. And we just want to feel like we can settle and stop and breathe. And notice I'm just holding onto that cushion, and it's just gently sitting against my puku. It's encouraging that spine to be straight, but it's also encouraging me to relax a little bit. Noticing my breath coming into that space along the spine. And then what I want to do is a modification of our pigeon pose, again with cushion. Now, and if you did last week's offering, you'd have seen me do a squat, answer a question about a squat and a new way of moving around in the squat. So we're going to make this shape, and then we're going to take this right knee and just put it alongside that foot. Okay, so this is the shape that we're making. I've got cushions everywhere in this space. So that's the shape that we're making. So if I went back to there, just to there. Look after this knee, okay? If you've come up side saddle, don't worry. Now, Even if you know you could lie your head quite happily down on the floor right now, we're going to put the cushion on this left knee. We're going to pull it into our tummy, and we're going to start to just come down onto that cushion. It's subtle and it's gentle. Might not be if this is where your tension is. But what we're trying to encourage the body to do is relax into it. So if you can come all the way down onto that cushion, do. Come up slow. And bring that right foot into that left foot. And left knee, right foot, okay? This is where we sometimes discover that we're a bit uneven in this hip shape. Another really good question that I'll often get is, you know, if we're side saddle, what should we concentrate on, right? So if you've ended up over on that right hip a bit more, it's time and progress and sitting on the floor, you know, a lot, you know, every chance you get really, rather than a chair, and just moving around in your body, because a lot of the time what's happening is that we're just moving very much in only a few directions and we lose all the rest of the movement. So think about that movement and how much that is for that hip to do. You know, so it's a big movement, and that's what we want to keep, but safely, right? So down this, over this right knee we go, just going slowly. So just kind of find your way to where you want to be with it, and then sink into it, sink into your breath. Coming out slow. And again, that idea that we've got rest as the centre part of restorative. We're going to take our legs to where they're comfy. It might be cross-legged, it might be out like this. We're going to bring the cushion in, and be back in Dandasana. Roll the shoulders down and just pause, maybe even close your eyes. Sometimes it doesn't feel like we're doing much. I'm putting that in inverted commas. But there's some depth to what we're doing. And some of this is about just slowing down. So breathe. And then kind of take your legs out wide like this. And when we go out wide, it's kind of like, how wide should we go? You know, and so A, it might depend on what the shape is, what the space is that you're using. But B, you know, we get to a point where we go quite wide, but we still want to have movement, okay? So just kind of check in, what feels like from a restorative perspective, the right distance for those feet to be apart. We give everything a little kind of wriggle. And cushion again, bolster if you've got it, the cushion's lovely. Pull it right into your tummy. And this is also where, one of the great questions that I had, was doing cushion work one night. If I've got an ample belly, do I still need to use a cushion? And it has amazed me over the years how we kind of think about bellies, right? So we could go on for a while about that, but ample bellies are often very strong, and they often struggle to relax. Okay, so quite often there's a lot of tension being held in the core. So we put the cushion there, and it teaches that tummy to relax. It teaches us to let go of it, and to be honest, a lot of people who think they've got an ample tummy, they actually haven't. They might have a tummy. Ample is, to get to my definition of ample, you have to be ample, and we celebrate ample in different ways. But again, it's about recognising that we tense our tummies up. We're taught to, and even if we think we're not, sometimes it's not till you get a cushion there. And I'll say to someone, right, pull the cushion in and relax your tummy into the cushion. And they're like, I'm not sure if I am. So pulling the cushion in, pull your tummy button in a little bit, and then really let go. And if you kind of went, there was quite a bit of tension that came out then, pull it in again, let it go. Now, if you were watching then, I pull my belly in and let it go, I come forward. Because I'm letting that tension out and I'm able to roll around my hips more. So kind of an interesting, and when I say move, it's half a centimetre if that, but it's there, right? If you're a person that can also quite easily get your head and your kind of body on the floor, putting the cushion there helps you relax too, because we're usually having to work quite hard to get that low. Or we're just that used to it, we don't realise the shape that we're actually making. And so putting the cushion there, it's like, oh yeah, there's the floor, and there's my tummy, and there's the cushion. So again, just kind of find that enough point. It might be sitting right up. It might be slowly working our way down and forward and into the breath. And again, chin tucks into the base. Now, and little adjustments. Loosen up your knees, give them a little wriggle. Stretch along the spine a little bit, so bring the head up, bring the shoulders up, and then release. And notice, come into that breath again. Walking up, just slow, come up slow. Give these legs a little bit of movement, so bring them in, cross them, open cross-legged, or legs out in front, or keep them there if they're more comfortable there. Move that cushion away for a moment, come round into some little circles into that pelvis, just releasing out any tension that we might have built up, or feeling the tension that we have released from in there. Okay, bring it around the other way, just slow. what we're going to do now is it's a variation on a favourite. Okay, so, and again, this is going to be just a look at the different ways we can use something as simple as a couch cushion. So, I'm going to use frog pose. Okay, so we've made some really deep shapes into our hips. So, we might be feeling it a little bit, but hopefully in a good way. Now, we used to bring in, so those of you that have done restorative, we used to bring in the cushion in under our tummy. We still can, but if you've got two cushions, we're going to build a nest for our arms as well. If you've only got one, put the arm one out in front. Okay, and we're going to go over it with our arms. Notice I've got a gap here for my head. Okay, so there's room there for my noodle, so that when I come down, I can just let my head come down without suffocating in a pillow, and I can reach my arms away, and I can sink into it. I can rest my arms but deep into the shoulder space. Again, we're noticing, because we've been there for a while, we can leave our arms extended, and we can drop our elbows to the floor. Just rest the hands on top of each other. Come up slow, 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 slow. This is our last one, crew, in this kind of sequence. We're going to stay with one cushion. Now, what I want to do is have my shoulders and my head there, and this supporting the little arch in my spine. This cushion's perfect. I can pull it into my lower back, and then when I roll over it, my shoulders hit the floor. Okay, so I'm lucky. It's made for that. Funny that. But just kind of find that shape where it's making an arch for your spine, but you feel like you're not resting on the back of your head. You've got some kind of movement down into there. Where your arms go, a little bit about what the shoulders are feeling like. I've got a little bit of air under my shoulders today. That's just because my back's feeling a bit interesting. But we've got an arch in our spine, we've got our feet tucked in. And we're breathing. If that feels too much, take the cushion away. And make sure you feel nice and supported in your body. Notice your breath, let yourself sink into the breathing.
little adjustments now that you've been there for a while. Check that back still feels alright. Check the breathing feels nice and open. Soften into the shape in a way that feels good for you. Now, this is to be done slowly, crew. Now roll to one side. Just carefully take that cushion out and vertebrae by vertebrae lie back down. Bring your hands onto your tummy. Keep the feet tucked in, just support that spine. Some beautiful releasing going on in there, hopefully. Sink into it, sink into the breath. Now crew, this is a great time to move into the meditation, to stay for a longer Shavasana. So just kind of take a moment or three. If you have to come out and into the rest of whatever your day holds, just go slow, start to stretch, start to move. Eventually finding your way around to seated, and sit for a moment, noticing your body, noticing your beautiful surroundings. Find something beautiful to focus your attention on for a moment. Take a breath, take that feeling with you into whatever the rest of the day brings by gathering some energy in, bringing it to the heart space. And many blessings everyone, thank you for sharing in the yoga today, and thank you Couch Cushion too.